I can't help but notice that it always seems to be a bat mess that I'm cleaning up.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, how's it going?
Tom, it's Jeff from last week.
Yeah, from the internet and last week.
Yeah,
Last week on the internet.
From last week on the internet. Yeah. You are never going to guess what time it is.
Man, is it time to travel backwards in time and perhaps unmake reality in order to save a doomed parent?
Kinda, actually.
Hey!
As close as you've ever been. Because it's actually time, you fool, for another episode of Tom and Jeff Watch. Blah, blah.
Every week you do this to me. You embarrass me and you humiliate me in front of all of these people.
You know what I don't do every week?
What's that?
Bring a buddy. And
is he gonna embarrass me too? What fun?
Oh, you brought
100%.
You brought a friend?
Well, I say buddy sarcastically because we are joined by, of course, the fantastic and magnanimous Adam Todd Brown. Adam, go straight to hell.
Oh, that's mean. That's mean.
We love having you on this show.
I didn't know you were on this podcast.
Yeah. No, I'm the Jeff part.
Really?
Yeah. No. A lot of people assume it's Jeff Fahey.
Shocking,
but it actually isn't. It's not the lawnmower man.
Somehow, if you listen to this show and you don't know Adam, I have to assume that Venn diagram is very ecliptic,
very close to a complete circle.
Adam, of course, introduce yourself, Adam. Go ahead. You don't need me to say it.
Hi, I am Adam Todd Brown from podcasts. I used to host one called Unpopular Opinion, and now it's called You Don't Even Like This Show. And I also host about 75 other podcasts, including one about how Jeff doesn't even like sports.
You son of a bitch.
There it is.
I got it in there.
Slide it right in between the ribs.
Ooh.
We open packs of trading cards together, which means if you are listening to this on day of release, head on over to the YouTube page. You can watch us open some cards.
Yeah. I don't know what we're opening yet, but
cards, Adam. I just said that.
Yeah. I don't know what cards. Okay.
Well, that's the point. You don't know what cards they are until you open the pack.
Yeah, Jesus. That's why they're in packs.
Yeah, it's a blind pull.
I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Yeah. It sounded really foolish today, Adam.
Everybody, look, I mean, we're pretending like the audio is the first thing you're seeing about the podcast. Like you haven't seen the title and everything, but we are doing a very, very special event because The Flash has dropped on Max. And so Tom was originally going to choose what we watched. I put it in his hands, and then Friday night or Saturday night, I texted him and said, well, looks like Max chose for you.
Because I was thinking about maybe War World or whatever. There's some animated movie that came out recently that we haven't covered, but nope, it's The Flash, everyone.
We can't not do this.
No, of course.
Yeah. This is our version of We Just Watched. It's like we just watched, but not in the theater.
I saw this in the theater.
Well, of course, but I couldn't bring my laptop into it,
right.
And just take notes. So for those of you, you are listening for free. Thank you. If you're listening for free, we love that. Head on over to patreon.com/gamefully unemployed. And you can hear not only parts 2 and 3 of this, but lots of other great podcasts as well.
As well as the hundreds of other episodes of this podcast we've done
many
at this
hundreds
point.
of episodes, including great episodes with Adam Todd Brown.
Yeah.
We did one of our top rated episodes is the Batman Forever episode with you.
It's probably just because Batman Forever is so good.
It is. It does rock pretty hard.
And interestingly, we'll the only unrepresented film in all of the Bat mythos apparently in this film.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, now I don't think they touched the Bales at all.
Oh, I think you're right. Yep, you're right.
But okay, for those of you that want to watch along, you're welcome to do that. We're covering the first third of The Flash. So we're really just the first act, really.
I loved getting that email. Hey, you want to do a podcast about the first third of The Flash?
I mean, if we did it, and to which my reply would have been, do you really want to do one on the whole movie in one sitting? Because that would be a 6-hour podcast.
Yeah, that would be a lot.
So The Flash, obviously 2023 is The Flash, mired in many controversies.
I went into this movie trying to give it fully the benefit of the doubt. But there is a lot, like there's just so much crap around this movie that it's impossible to ignore.
Between release problems,
it's
star problems.
It's a 6-year-old movie to Justice League, which is a movie nobody liked. It's a star who is just a hotbed of controversy right now.
I will add, though, that this is actually a sequel to Zack Snyder's Justice League.
It's both, but yeah.
Well, it references very specifically.
It does. Things. It references the Iris thing and at least one other thing.
The time travel thing.
Right.
What exactly, like, I know the lead in this is a problem, but like, what did he do? Here's the thing, I don't care about him.
Yeah, they were running around Hawaii just doing
fighting
crimes.
all Hawaii, choking a lady in a bar. They have some weird
potentially having a cult
kidnapping.
Compound.
Yeah, like they have some 18-year-old girl living with it's a whole
bit of a problem.
It's a whole problem. Yeah, it's really
And we're not here to be the moral arbiters of what an absolutely unhinged human being has been doing outside of acting.
No. I'm just looking at this solely as a Flash movie.
But boy, is this something we have to do. So I've been dreading doing this, but also very excited about it at the same time, which is a good half of everything we cover here.
Yeah.
And we start on a clock face. We start on a clock because time, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Time.
Does time matter to this? I don't remember.
Time it's like a mild, some would say time is actually the other main character.
Right. The fourth main character is time.
Yeah.
The central city is actually one of the main characters.
And then we would beat that person up.
Yeah, with a clock.
It is after 9, which if you have a standard 9 to 5, not a good sign. He's got a little Apple. He's got a superhero watch that says that he has low calories and he's gonna die. And Barry is trying to get a sandwich from this, what has to be the most fireable Starbucks employee on the planet.
Most abusive coffee shop employee in history. Like, it's not. It feels like this first scene is trying to like highlight Barry's awkwardness, but it really is just about how this barista is a monster.
Yeah,
it's like bullying Barry.
Yeah, he deserved to be slapped. Like, he was a
Barry's like
problem.
He should have used his super speed to knock that guy's teeth out.
Just knocks his jaw
right off, right clean off his body.
But also controversial. Superheroes shouldn't run out of power. Like, you shouldn't need granola to fuel you.
Yeah,
it feels like not like whenever someone talks about really advanced technology, but it still has to be plugged in. That's not advanced. We're past that.
That is one of the constant. Yeah, we conquered food in the superhero world. It's funny though. The Flash is one of the few characters where that's actually part of his entirety
thing. Yeah,
his whole being, like,
constantly eat because his metabolism is so high. You see.
Yeah. So he's just a hero.
Yeah, exactly. He's just a standard hero. Nothing super about him. They actually address it in one of the very classic Superman versus Flash race ones, where like everyone's out there, like, and Flash is running while he's just stuffing burgers in his mouth, talking to Superman who's next to him, and he's like, "You don't have to eat." And he's like, I just eat the sun's rays, kind of like I just absorb that. And he's just like, well, this doesn't seem fair because this run is costing me $3,000.
I'm about to puke Whoppers all over the place.
Yeah. He's running eating like burgers.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that can't be good in your gut.
Heavy. Yeah.
Which means he also has to be shitting while he's burning that
must
with the
be monstrous, right? Because he eats 20,000 calories a day.
Yeah. There would be just like periodic strips of shit.
Yeah. Like he's like a horse. He would just shit where he runs.
Unless he's like evolved to just sweat it out. Like he just
sweating shit like a plate
comes out of his pores.
Factory.
Oh, that's the Flash movie I want.
Yes. So he's like, where's my usual lady with the curly hair? She always has my PB and BRHC on a roll. And it's peanut butter, bananas, raisins, honey, and cheese.
Fucking
and the guy's
weirdo.
like, oh, someone's got.
It's a fucking weirdo.
It does sound gross, but also I was like,
it's not a real sandwich.
I was like, oh, that sounds foul. And I was like, I wonder what it tastes like.
Yeah. Also, I want it.
Yeah. Sounds terrible. And I must have it right now. And the guy's like, aren't you blessed with a fast metabolism? And it's like, man, fuck you.
Yeah.
He's like, you're running a marathon. He starts
interrogating me. I'm trying to order breakfast.
And Barry's like, can we fucking go? And he's just like, you can't rush a good sandwich, dude. And Barry's like, no, I mean like go. Like hands up,
Yeah.
bro.
It's time to fight now. I have had it with you.
Then Alfred calls, and poor Jeremy Irons just collecting a paycheck,
sex
Kelsey
Alfred.
Grammer style.
Just the hottest Alfred whom fucks is Jeremy
Yes,
Irons.
hello. I'd help, but I'm too busy burying myself in pussy.
It's just crushing ass while he's talking to Batman.
Just full on trim.
Master
Patrick
Wayne.
Bateman, like looking in the mirror while he's got a Bluetooth in, talking, just banging out so much. He basically sends Barry to clean up Batman's mess. A robbery has gone wrong at Gotham General. And he's like, in the middle of the morning, why is our bat friend even awake? And he goes, you need to call Superman. He's like, yeah, do you not think that that's who we went to first?
Yeah, we definitely didn't start with you.
Yeah. And it shows him dealing with a volcano eruption in Guatemala. And he goes, how about Diana? How about Wonder Woman? He's like, yeah, again, I cannot stress enough how much you are not my first choice on this one. And
you're not at the top of the call sheet.
Yeah. And what we're about to find out is that Batman, since of learning the existence of Barry, of the Flash, has no longer had to care about any collateral damage whatsoever.
He's really gone hog wild.
Yeah.
He's
his
like
parents left him home alone.
Yeah, he's like a lame duck president who doesn't have another re-election coming up. He's just like, fuck it.
He's just like, get Barry to clean up all of these people I killed.
Yeah, catch all these babies because I'm chasing these bank robbers. I don't care. Like, he literally blows the basement out of this hospital to the point where it's collapsing in on itself. And he's like, I can't deal with this. Barry,
I have a virus.
You make nobody die.
I have a briefcase to catch.
Yeah.
Like, you know who would have caught that briefcase pretty quick?
Right. He leaves the
Barry.
Flash to deal with this collapsing building. Well, he's like, I'm going to go on the high-speed pursuit. Like, I feel like the Flash might have caught those guys real quick.
Yeah, Flash could probably ran by those guys on the way. It's just like, stop by, vibrate through these guys, and just fucking take it, man. What's wrong with you?
And I feel like the guy who flies would have been a better choice to catch all those sky babies later on.
Right?
Yeah.
That Superman would have eaten them.
He would have just eaten. He would have swooped in there like a pelican with his mouth open.
Would have uncanny valleyed the shit out of those, because those babies do not look like babies.
No.
I don't care what the director said about, like, it's actually about the perception in Barry's. It's like, no,
they look like marzipan.
Your CGI it looks like, is it cake? You'd be like, that's cake.
It's cake.
That is absolutely cake.
And Clark is testing that with his teeth, with his mighty Kryptonian teeth. All right.
So he goes, gets in his costume. He's got a new costume. It's a little sleeker. It's kind of like a tight red with like what looks like an electrical current sort of coursing through his body. And he gets in his like little sprinter stretch, and the logo starts to form in front of him. And then right before it finishes, you just hear a group of fans start freaking out, and the logo just goes away. It got discovered, which I thought was a pretty cute. It was
fun. Yeah.
They're freaking out. He asked one of them to throw a candy bar his way, but then Bruce is patched into him, and he just gets fucking hit in the head. Doesn't pick up the candy bar.
I would have picked up that candy bar and eaten it.
Yeah. He just convinces the kid to throw away a candy bar.
That was confusing. He was so hungry and he couldn't just bend over and pick up.
He's the Flash. He can eat it in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat that goddamn candy bar, dude.
The way they deal with time in this movie is just like, at least in Endgame, they're like, time travel is ridiculous. In this, all of the times they reference time, it's like, do you guys have like a Bible for this, or do you just kind of wing it every time?
They're winging it.
Yeah. So then he takes off as the logo shows up. Now, this is where I'm going to add that I don't know if I've noticed this in the other movies, but the running animation that they have for this movie is the wonkiest shit, where like his body is moving super fast, but he's like running in slow motion. It seems like it's an artistic flourish, but it mostly looks like shit.
Yeah, all of the scenes of him like running, especially the stuff where he's going back in time, it's the same thing as the babies. Like I gathered that it was maybe supposed to be a perspective thing, but everyone just looks stupid.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing wind sprints in Madame Tussauds wax museum.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird choice. I don't know how you do that and not make it look silly, honestly.
It's funny because he like, when everybody was talking about how bad the CGI was it was the director, right? That was like, it's supposed to be like that.
Yes.
And everybody's like,
yeah,
you're lying.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
Like, you're clearly a liar. So he arrives to watch the base of Gotham General falling. He saves an ambulance driver, and he's like, Bruce, what the fuck did you just do? Like, he's like, so like, what are you doing? Why aren't you here? And then we hear an alarm blaring, and we see the bat, like the cowl from Silhouette in the back, and he's now riding out of his jet onto a motorcycle. And there are a couple of important things to note. First, this is the first time we've ever seen a theatrical Batman in the classic gray suit with the blue cowl.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
That is important to note.
It is. I mean, that's what he's been in the comics most of the time. Like, he's been that almost exclusively. And we've never seen it on camera. This is the first time we've really seen it, not counting Adam West's, but that was also like a weirdly purple.
Yes. Yeah.
And also the other thing to note is he looks weird as shit facially.
Yeah.
When he's talking, his mouth is clearly CGI. He's CGI talking. And you hear the words coming out, but the mouth doesn't move to match the words.
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
If you get a chance, because it's the beginning of the movie, go back and watch it, and you look at it. It's like he's a Chuck E. Cheese band member. The way he's like talking, the way the face goes through, it's really fucking weird.
And his head is gigantic.
It is
massive.
Yeah. Like, it looks like he never skips head day at the gym. It's just swole.
It's swole.
Just lifting 220 with his head.
Yeah, it was like in Batman versus Superman where he's doing all that like CrossFit stuff and like, you know, with all the chains and stuff.
Yeah,
he's doing it,
just getting his head real fucking ripped.
Yeah, just has
all
encephalitis the
trapped
whole time.
Yeah, got one jacked head.
Yeah, imagine being at like a Wayne Tech board meeting, and you're like, "Oh, here's our CEO," and he's just got these like massive traps, these like big swollen, like Warren Sapp traps where he just walks in. Jesus Christ!
Right, you'd be like, "Does your CEO hunt people for money?"
Yeah, is your CEO Batman?
Yeah,
he looks like Batman, like exactly. There are people who just have super. It'd be like if Yao Ming was Batman. It would not be hard to figure out who this is. Cutting the case, it's like, oh no, who else would be that rich and also has a neck like that? Bruce, he's explaining, he's like, oh, it sounds like you're fleeing the scene. He's like, Falcone's idiot kid decided to try playing the big leagues, put a crew together and broke into the lab at Gotham General and stole a highly deadly virus, which I'm like, why
General Hospital in Gotham?
And why would they have this virus?
Just
you're in General Hospital.
Yeah.
In the most dangerous
in
city
Gotham.
on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how plagues start.
He's like, anyway, they blasted their way out after I confronted him, Barry. And it's like, it sounds like you're just admitting fault.
Right. It sounds like this is a problem you created.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm
not with the fact that I can't do my job. A little. Bruce is like abusing Barry.
He really is.
He's really abusing.
He's got a golden ticket.
And they address it. You'd think Barry would have a better apartment with all the shit he does for Bruce.
At the very least, Bruce could put $1 million into his, like, that would be nothing for Bruce. And Barry still lives like the brokest ass college student in this hovel.
Bruce throws more away in batarangs than Barry makes in a year.
Like a couple of scenes from now, he drives like a $500,000 car to Barry's apartment. Yeah.
And that is in a rough part of the city.
Yes.
Like, they do not make that part of the city look good. So she's like, it's important. All right. So I addressed the mouth again in my, I mentioned the mouth several times.
If I had noticed it would probably be all throughout my notes as well.
It's so unsettling. It's just like, do yourself a favor and go back to the motorcycle scenes where he's talking on the phone and look at him move his mouth. And it is just, it's like, it's wrong to the point where it's chilling. You're just like, oh, what did they do? Okay. So he's like, anyway, clean up my mess, Barry. And he's like, whatever. And then he fucking mutes him on his little watch. And then we have one of this Batman's favorite things to do, which is have a reckless chase scene that may have killed several
really
people.
endanger lives. It's what Affleck is about. I love the Ben Affleck Batman. He's like shitty and old and he doesn't care anymore. And he's just hurting people.
He gets in his motorcycle And he's going. Now, this is a Bat motorcycle with a jet engine on the back.
He's like he's like an old Hells Angels guy. Like he's like an old biker doing security. Like he doesn't give a shit anymore.
Gotta get the Bat Q stick to fight the Riddler with. Beat somebody up with the Bat chain wrapped.
Yeah, his Bat wallet chain.
Yeah, a Bat billiard ball and his Bat sock bashing dudes away with it.
His Bat switchblade.
At one point in time, a couple of cars, because it's mayhem, a couple of cars are like blocking Bruce's way. And instead of doing the thing that he could do, which is like vaulting over them all heroically, he instead just shoots a battering ram out of the front of the bike and goes faster at the cars that have injured people in them.
He doesn't.
Imagine
he's not worried about that.
That's your day.
He's not worried about that.
Well,
You get into an accident and you're like, thank God Batman is coming to save us. And then you hear and see the battering ram come out and you're like, Batman's coming to kill us.
Well, I mean, in that case, Batman didn't kill him. The battering ram did.
The
battering ram. Yeah.
Batman's kind of like a hurricane. Like, you just can kind of prepare for his arrival and hope for the best.
It's just people see Batman coming, they start throwing sandbags in front of their houses.
All right. Get into a door frame, right? That's what they say. A door frame will keep you safe from the bat.
Batman's coming. Get under a table. So like, he clearly would have a rocket jumping apparatus on there, but he's not invested in that at all. Alfred pipes in to let him know that the gas and the water pipes have been ruptured. What did you do, Bruce?
What did they never really explain what he did? He fucking blew the entire basement out of this hospital.
I think Bruce escalated it because
he always does.
Because clearly this is just men with some guns stealing a virus.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It has smash and grab energy at best. And all of a sudden now there's a sinkhole, an explosive sinkhole now.
Right. It's like Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
That's
actually
under a hospital where they apparently evacuated everyone but the babies.
What are the babies doing?
What
if the baby's done to earn their freedom?
Yeah,
they can't evacuate Adam. They can't walk. I'm surprised you didn't know that about babies.
Also, apparently, when shit goes down, the baby room automatically locks.
It's to keep the babies safe.
Yeah, keep the babies safe from the building that's staying up.
Yeah.
Because it's also like sheer just falling down, just that part. Like all her friends on the other side. Because there's a nurse who's in there that got out. Apparently, they abandoned her with all the babies.
Right.
And then they were like, oh, we should probably go back. But the door was locked. 5 nurses can't break through that goddamn door.
No one's got
also, the building toppled, didn't it?
It falls a little bit, and it's about to fall even more. But here comes the Flash doing, buddy. Flash, well, not yet, because the Flash is complaining about being the janitor of the Justice League, and he always has to clean up a bat mess. Now we cuts back to the chase, and Batman shoots a spike strip ball so they don't run through some kids. And that would have been funny if it went just 15 feet further and just like exploded in front of the kids.
Oh yeah, no, Batman has real Elon Musk energy. He's just testing this shit in public. Like it's like Elon doing his self-drive thing. He's just like this would probably work. I'm gonna throw this fucking spike strip grenade.
It's basically
a
potential
children.
It is a potential claymore.
Yeah.
And he just shoots it out there.
It's a shrapnel grenade.
and I'm like, Jesus, Bruce, what are you doing? The cops then join the chase, but that's, we all know what cops are in a Batman movie. In the way. Batman drives his little bike under a flipped over car. Anyway, the East Wing starts to collapse, and boy, Flash is all, I'm hungry. And then the wing starts dropping and the babies plummet to their doom.
This is where I started getting invested.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a dozen babies thrown out a window at the same time in a superhero movie. And I was excited. It was very fun.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
This is the potential here is fascinating.
He sticks a baby in a microwave.
Yeah.
If Snyder had done this, one of the he would have been like, he would have saved 7 babies, and like, but there were 8.
Right. One of the babies would have hit the street if this was a Snyderverse movie.
Yeah. So Snyder's not wrong all the time. That would have made this
exactly
a lot
right.
better.
Yeah. Academy
you're
Award.
you're a famous Sucker Punch fan, so
I love
you know.
Sucker Punch so much.
Now, all of these babies are having what some would say not the best of luck. One is about to fall into a flaming oxygen tank's spray. One has like 30 scalpels coming right at it. There's just like a bunch of shit coming at him. And so he goes to work. First thing he does is punches into a vending machine.
I like that.
Which, who among us hasn't fantasized about being a hero and smashing a vending machine at the same time?
Yeah, that's the first thing I would use the Speed Force to do.
Yeah, it's like, I got to get me a free Nutrageous.
Yeah, punch my way to a Mr. Goodbar. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So then, oh yeah, the one baby's about to be splashed by a bottle of acid.
Yep.
That they have just
in the room
ward.
with the babies. Yeah.
The very necessary baby ward acid bottle.
Why is this in here?
Yeah, this is a Looney Tune.
Punish the babies.
It's true.
He throws a bedpan at the bottle of acid. I would also like to add that Barry is accurate, because for the life of me, I would have missed. Like, I cannot guarantee that I would throw a bedpan in the way of some acid.
Right. He's like a pool shark almost. Like, he knows everything about like the physics and directionality of objects he's moving.
Oh, I guess if he's a forensic scientist, he would have to know a lot of geometry for like blood spray and stuff.
Yeah.
That mean you
shot.
got Nolan Ryan arm just because you got scientist brain.
Well, no, it does though, because he's hacked into the Speed Force, so he's throwing that thing and it's coming out like a bullet.
Oh, sure. What if he hit the baby?
It just slices it right in half. That's actually one of the things that they don't really address, is that he's moving super fast, but he's also like kind of juggling babies, and I'm like, these babies are not going to be okay in 3 years.
Oh yeah, they're going to have severe neck damage.
Right. Yeah, these babies aren't talking.
He's going to go to jail for shaken baby syndrome.
They're going to be worse than people who've spent like 6 months in space. Like, their skeletons are going to be all fucked up.
Yeah. All weird and shit.
Yeah.
Because he is whipping them around. He takes a burrito out of a microwave, and then puts the baby in it. Finally.
Right.
Finally, we get the one scene we've all wanted in a movie.
And then
it's the Flash shoving a baby in a microwave.
And
I would also like to
8
add,
minutes. He hits start. It's very.
I would like to add that the microwave is still on, because later when they land, the dinger goes off.
Right.
Which would only happen if the microwave was working.
Plugged in. Yeah.
Still cooking that baby.
One of those portable rechargeable microwaves.
Yeah.
A camper's microwave, you know. He whips the burrito at the scalpels. He's kind of whipping the babies around. He lines them up and catches them on a gurney, including the microwave baby and a nice little therapy dog for some reason. And Alfred's
everything was in that room, man.
Yeah. He's like, great job, Barry. Now go help Batman. And it's like, why is Batman here? Like, Bruce is the problem.
Right. He caused all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Bruce hadn't confronted those guys, they would have just been like, Barry, can you go and get this briefcase from these dipshits? And he'd be like, I 100% can do that. Super fast. And with no babies being killed.
Right.
Way less collateral damage. Like, there wouldn't have been an explosive melee on the freeway, probably.
Yeah. They would have not even known what happened. They would have been like, we got our ass kicked by the Invisible Man.
It's a weird choice.
They flip a fuel tanker over and shoot it. And they're like, yeah, we got Batman. But oh no, he's winching it. He winches onto the truck and then road surfs.
Yeah.
to get onto their Hummer. It's really kind of cool looking, I guess. It's one of the cooler looking scenes. And even greater when he gets onto the Hummer and just starts beating fucking ass.
It's a very Bruce thing to do, especially in this universe where he just doesn't give a shit. Yeah. He's like, yeah, fine. Like, his invention is a suit that allows him to be dragged by a speeding vehicle. Like,
finally.
Couldn't have
I've created the greatest invention of all time.
Couldn't even thrown some roller skates into that, man. Like, it's just dragging him across the street. And yeah, he's so pissed when he finally gets the car that he fucking beats the Christ out of those dudes.
He beats this guy so bad that the guy who's the driver commits suicide.
Right, he jumps out of a van on a bridge at 68 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's dead.
No, he's out of a lifted Hummer.
Yeah,
like there's no way this man survives.
Like best case scenario, he's dead. Because worst case scenario, he just suffered severe head trauma and is going to be someone's responsibility for the rest of his life.
And Bruce is going to haunt him every night.
Yeah. Peeking in the window. You're not doing any crimes, are you?
Guy's just drooling.
Yeah. His brain is shattered.
I got my eyes on you, Harvey. His name is not Harvey.
You have to be careful around this guy. His name is Street Face.
It's Captain Asphalt. The Hummer goes off the bridge, and at the last minute, Batman saves him and the robber with the case full of the virus right before they die. And as Batman's about to drop him into the harbor, Wonder Woman catches them with her lasso.
Sure.
Time for a little comedy and a cameo.
I didn't mind the Wonder Woman cameo.
No.
It was
it's a cute little scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as they're not Palestinian.
Yeah.
Great scene.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've got Diana, Bruce, Barry, and Falcone's nephew or son or whatever.
I think his son, yeah.
And she tells Flash's, she compliments Flash's suit. She looks at Bruce and she goes, "And you're welcome." And he just looks at her and goes, my ego's far too big to say thank you to someone else. And he looks down and sees that he's holding the lasso of truth, and he goes, shit. And he tries not to.
He's trying to get it off. Yeah.
I've developed this all-powerful persona to compensate for my childhood trauma. And then because the other guy's wrapped up, he goes, "I too have childhood trauma."
Yeah.
"I do a lot better if I gave all." This is actually a great line that they put in here. He goes, "I do a lot better if I just gave all my money away. Yes, if I really wanted to end crime, I should end poverty."
Yeah.
And it's so funny because
Yes.
they've never addressed it.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about it on the show probably every 3 weeks.
Yeah, and numerous commenters and such have written about it on the internet. It's not a new idea.
It's memed at this point.
Yeah, but it's fun that the DC universe is acknowledging it. It's sort of like in the new Blue Beetle movie where they have George Lopez say Batman's a fascist.
Oh yeah, there it is
in the trailer.
So he goes. So then Flash starts to get them untied, and out of nowhere he goes, "I know that sex exists. I just never experienced it." Like he's coming while he's saying it.
Yeah, this is a weird character trait for Barry.
That he comes every time he talks.
Every time he tells the truth.
Every time he tells.
It's like Pinocchio.
He's a very erotic Pinocchio. Yeah. Diana just fucking leaves. She's like, "Okay, I got my paycheck. I'm leaving." And the group dissipates. And you see the guy, Falcone, running away in the background. And Batman no-look batarangs that dude in the temple, most likely killing him.
Yeah. I don't know what his plan was anyway.
That guy?
Like, he was just going for it. He's like, well, they're telling jokes or some shit. I guess I'll just make a fucking run for it and see what happens.
I would rather get knocked out by a batarang than have to deal with Batman.
Yeah. I'd rather wake up in the hospital/prison than have to deal with Batman for sure.
Yeah.
Then you're just going to get hit by the batarang a bunch instead of just the one.
Right, and you're going to remember it too
by the batarang. It would be so funny if he came out of the coma and they're like, "Yeah, it looks like Batman really kicked you in the chest to knock you out, huh?" He's like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "We found a huge boot print right on your chest." That's not what happened. It just cuts to an old scene where Bruce is just like curb stomping his chest.
Right.
That's what you get for running away.
I'll crush you.
I'm not hurting you. How dare you make me look foolish in front of my girlfriend?
I'm not hurting you. You're hurting me, making me do this.
He just always passes the blame on everybody else.
Yeah.
Flash gets back to the coffee shop, gets his sandwich from Mr. Fuckface, and he goes, "Now, was that fast enough for you?" And I'm like, "Kill him."
Yeah, kill him. Snap his neck at the speed of light. Nobody will even know.
Snap his neck, get the fuck out of there.
Nobody will even know.
Nobody would know.
Nope.
No.
It would never know.
It would end up on a Lex Luthor video that he would have.
Right.
He would have it with
blackmailed
branding.
by Lex later. Yeah. We came up with this lightning bolt for you. I hope you like it.
Yeah.
And they all adopted his logos too.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember that. Did you do a Batman versus Superman episode with us?
Maybe, I think.
I feel like I might have.
Yeah, you might have. I don't know if you saw the movie, but there's that scene where he has all the video evidence of other superheroes, but they have like their logos on the files.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, wait, did Lex Luthor like hire a graphic designer to design logos for these people?
Hopefully.
Yes.
It's such an insane thing to do. Anyway. And so his boss calls him out for being late all the time. Turns out he missed a meeting. He still wants to submit some shit for some review. Apparently, this is a regular forensics lab where they're trying to push guilty shit. Like they're trying to get the justice system to move more efficiently. And Barry's like, efficiently isn't always the right thing. Like you're fucking up people's lives by not considering all the angles.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that forensic scientist from the Making the Drug Scandal
Oh, I didn't watch that.
documentary. Because we did a pod about that, right, Adam?
Yeah, we did an episode of True Crime Sucks about it.
It's kind of like that, where like, when you get lax on forensics, people get caught in the wake, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Or if you start smoking meth at your forensics job.
Yeah. Or dropping meth, which seems like Barry is doing.
A little
Like
bit.
they should be asking him at all times, like, are you doing meth like the Amherst lady?
Barry should be getting drug tested every day, the way he behaves.
Yeah. I think they've established that he's neurodivergent, and they're like, look, but they also bully the
shit out of him, though. They're so mean to him. Like his work friends are the shittiest people alive.
Yeah, his work friends, and also like one of his work friends is like bullying him, but he's also like 5'5". And I'm like, Barry, just kick this guy's ass.
Yeah, you could fuck that dude up hardcore.
Wreck him. You're a hero, Barry.
Yeah.
Be the hero that this universe deserves. Kill that little mean man.
For being rude to you.
He's like, and Barry's like, hey, these cases were rushed and maybe need to be reopened. And his boss is like, we've got a 6-month backlog, motherfucker. We're not going to move slower. And have you thought about hiring more people? He's like, absolutely not. No budget for justice. Do the work, close the case, move on. You see, we find out that Barry's dad, he was railroaded by bad forensic evidence. That's a whole thing.
Well,
yeah, that's
non-existent actually, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all motive.
Yeah,
or not even motive. It's all circumstantial
yeah.
And they booked him for it. Yeah, they got so. It cuts to him working on a glove, pulling some fibers, and then his friends knock on the door and like, come watch our boss do a press conference together. So he goes out and watches them. And he's giving this like, oh, we have sufficient conclusive evidence, blah, blah. And Barry's like, I am still working on this evidence. And he starts to walk away from work. So he just left the glove. His friends convinced him to like just quit work like Fred Flintstone, slide down a brontosaurus and go home.
Yeah, he's going to get a brontosaurus burger.
Yeah, I don't know if forensic work works like that. You have to see that through once you start it.
Yeah, it kind of seems like you shouldn't just leave a loose evidence under a under like a big magnifying glass.
It's probably fine. It's probably fine.
Yeah. It's the worst.
Fun got in, burned up the glove. Sorry.
It's not like Jeff. It's not like a glove ever decided any major case.
Never
has it happened.
History of crime. Iris, who's a reporter, notices him and follows him, and the friends are just making fun of him, and he loses his shit. He's like, these are fucking lives, you assholes, you fucking assholes.
Yeah.
You can't grasp the gravity of that. Leave me alone.
Very reasonable boundary.
Reasonable boundary, but
Sure
also
is.
at the same time, they're like, you probably could have done through this a little bit better, but you know what? That's fair. Then Iris,
those guys are being dicks.
They are dicks. They're huge dicks. Yeah. Barry
If you ask me, Barry went too easy on them when he got.
He should have just vibrated his hand through their chest.
Yeah, he should just karate chop their heads off at the speed of light.
Yeah,
and it would just everyone else would just look like their heads popped off, and then he'd be like, "Oh my god, their heads popped off." Nobody would know
what is happening right here specifically. So Iris is like Barry Allen, and he is shocked that she knows his full name.
Mm-hmm.
And his asshole friends they start dogging on him in front of her. They're like, we didn't know you had a friend from school. We didn't know we actually had a friend.
They're
and
being
Barry's
real
like,
weird. Like there's nothing else going on in their lives but Barry.
Like, did they not know about like workplace shootings?
Do they not know that his dad's in jail for killing his mom? Like they must know this. Like they're
do they not
ripping on him.
Do they not know about all the mysterious head disappearances that have been happening to
all the people
rude
whose
forensic
heads
scientists?
pop off around Barry when they're mean to him.
Yeah, this needed murder. This needed a lot of murder.
Oh, there's murder coming up in the end of it.
There's some murder,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
But there's actually a murder that's not a fun murder.
Oh, see, I want fun murder. That would have been fun murders.
They also
like Justice League has a lot of murder in it from the hero.
It does. A real eye twinkling, winking murder in the Zack Snyder version. But in this one, like they don't. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the third episode. They don't actually resolve that murder. Like the murder is not solved in this movie.
Yeah,
the
murder of his mom.
Well, they address that. They say there's some things you can't. Oh, you're right. They don't actually.
They don't
address,
solve
like,
it. Yeah.
Culprit.
Yeah.
That's going to be for the Flash 2, Tom.
Which is definitely happening.
The most unlikely movie ever.
We'll get an Uncle Buck 2 before we get the Flash 2.
Don Quixote 2. What's his name? They talk and she's like, didn't we see each other a few years ago? And that would be Zack Snyder's
Justice League. Yeah.
So like that's the part where, you know, you get the first, okay, they're referencing that version of the movie. And he goes, no, because we haven't seen each other since college. And she goes, maybe I was just thinking about you. And it's like, Iris, you minx. She's thirsty as fuck.
She's into him. She's into him.
Yeah. They are mutually stalking each other, and it's very cute. There's some mutual stalking. She hangs out outside of his house.
Mm-hmm.
She asks about how the appeal's going because she's covering it for the paper, and then asking how he's holding up. And he's like, are you asking for the paper? And she's like, no, I'm asking because we're friends, but I'm sure the public would want to know. And he's like, well, my official comment is that my dad is innocent. And she's like, yeah, nobody wants to believe their father killed their mother. And he's like, excuse me?
Believe? Yeah, like she kind of fucks up here. Where she's like,
to be fair, she does apologize for fucking
she apologizes later, yeah, but it's like as soon as she's like, well, I'm just asking as a friend, but the public would like to know, like Barry clams up, and then she hits him with that, like, well, nobody wants to believe their dad killed their mom. He's like, all right, I just got like, you just saw me get dunked on, right, by my friends. I don't need like more of it from you.
This might be the only time in the Snyderverse that a problem where you're like, this person's an asshole is actually addressed later. You're like, okay. Like usually it would be like Batman and Superman hate each other. Now they're best friends. Like that kind of where you're like, wait, there's not much of an arc here.
It's real action figure thinking most of the time.
And he's like, what do you mean believe? My father shouldn't be in jail. My mom should be alive. It's not about what I believe. It's about what the truth is. And she's like, yeah, fuck me. That's not what I meant. And he's like, right, sorry, I have no official comment at this time. And he leaves and she's like, oh, you blew it, Iris. You fucking blew it. She's great in this, like the actor.
Yeah.
The character, they make her seem really aggressively after Barry.
Well, isn't she? Well, she's a reporter also, though, so she's going to be pursuing him for that too.
I think that's what they were going for, where we were supposed to kind of not be sure about her intentions, sort of like Vicky Vale in the Tim Burton's Batman, where it's like, is she really into him, or is she just like kind of trying to get a story? And then, of course, I was assuming that would get like worked out later, but they really don't ever move beyond this point for Iris. It's just like she's really into Barry. Maybe it was just because of the newspaper. I don't know, but her character is very thinly drawn here for sure.
He arrives at his apartment, finds a package with a thumb drive and a letter saying, I'm sorry, signed by Bruce. We get an audio overlay of a phone call while he's watching the video that they couldn't positively identify the security footage of his father because he never actually looks up.
Yeah.
So without any new evidence to support the alibi, they're going to need to start thinking about the next appeal. And his dad's like, dude, stop worrying about me and go live your life.
I'm wondering what universe that video is useless in.
Yeah.
Like, because they have like Barry's eyewitness testimony, right? Because Barry was home and saw his dad come home. He saw what his dad was wearing. Like, he can confirm that his dad was wearing those clothes in that video. So it's like, if it's not his dad, it's a guy who was dressed exactly like his dad.
Are there not photos of that dad in the hat?
Yeah, there's some reasonable doubt here.
That's why I wear this custom hat, by the way.
Also, there's only the one camera that just points at that aisle. Like, that's a gas station. There's going to be cameras
There'd
everywhere.
be cameras at the checkout. Like they certainly got him checking out. Like they
Yeah,
must have seen him park. They must have seen him walk in. They must have seen him walk out. Like
There is video of him just rubbing one out in the parking lot.
yeah,
Nothing. Wouldn't that be funny if that's the only other
that's the
corroborating
exculpatory evidence that they have. It's just him furiously
Yeah.
masturbating in the bathroom at the supermarket.
That's why he's like, just go live your life, son.
Just
Don't look any deeper into this.
just coming a freakish amount, like an alarming amount.
So much.
It's like wow,
An embarrassing amount. An amount you'd want to stay in jail for life.
a frightening amount. Yeah, it's like man, we should keep this guy locked up.
Yeah.
That's too
Sees
much
him
gum.
talking, and you just see like a layer of cum right around his chest as he's talking.
That's his superpower.
Hell yeah.
That's a real hero.
Hit with a bolt of jizz lightning.
And we see he's looking at his little stuffed monkey and talking about he's like, hey, and this weird conversation like maybe I'm better off inside so I can imagine your mother's alive. Nobody would ever say that.
Mm-mm.
And as he's talking, we see Barry pull up to his childhood home in the Flash costume, and we get the flashback to the murder scene where Dad's like, hey, remember when Mom used to make that sauce on Sundays? And essentially, there are two parts to this flashback. Number one, Barry is doing weird math. Barry is 8,
And maybe
and he's doing like calculus or something. I don't know what it is. He's like, there's so many goddamn answers, it's not even fitting on the page. And the mom gives him advice that is good for the plot, but makes no sense. Where she's like, sometimes you just have to accept that there is no answer.
right. She basically tells him sometimes you have to give up.
He's doing
Like,
schoolwork, lady.
That's like ends up being the message of this film is that sometimes you just have to give up. And it's like this movie is so weird.
Little sidebar. Before I had ever seen this movie, which I've seen about 45 minutes of it, I made the spaghetti from this movie. There's a recipe for it out there online. And here's the thing, not that good.
Not as good as yours.
No, it's not. It's not as good as most. Just kind of overrated.
That's why someone killed it. That's why the father killed his mother.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fucking stabbed her in the heart. Sick of this
tomato
pasta.
Shit, your shit sauce. More fucking tomatoes. Send me out. Also, the dad is the guy. He's what's his name, right?
Ron
He's
Livingston.
Ron
Yeah.
Livingston.
Yeah, it's Ron Livingston, right? I was like, you're watching it and you're like, is it Ron Livingston? But
It was Billy Crudup.
yeah, okay, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, it's not. The
It
same
was Billy
guy,
Crudup
right?
in the previous 2 movies. I think they show him twice, I believe.
Couldn't afford Crudup for the Flash, huh?
Yeah.
His quote got a little high.
Or he wasn't available. I know he's making that Apple TV show, like the morning show. Who knows?
Oh yeah,
Oh, shit.
yeah. That's probably prestige television is a bit more than doing a fucking
Doing
Flash
a cameo in the fucking Flash movie. It's like, nah, I'm all set.
Yeah.
You guys have fun though.
So basically, she forgot the tomatoes, sends the dad out. He goes. While he's gone, the mother gets murdered in the daylight.
In the middle of the afternoon, like somebody just
Stabbed in the
walks
heart.
into the house and stabs her in the heart.
It was me, Barry.
It was me, Barry.
They have this whole like before they have a very wholesome interaction. What a wonderful family. I'm sure nothing will happen to them.
Yeah.
And it cuts to modern Barry looking all sad. He's all sad, and we see him go run to call 911. And like he runs past Barry in the memory, like he looks at him, and then that's the murder. And the Barry's dad's on the phone, and he's like, "Don't worry about tomorrow. We always knew it was a long shot." And then the line just disconnects. They're like, "You're not allowed to talk to your dad anymore." It sounded like he was done.
Right. At least they timed it to when he was at the end of a sentence, at the end of a thought. That was considerate of them.
Kind of them, yeah. It's just the kind of consideration I expect from the American people.
Justice System, Department of Corrections.
The thin gray line. That's funny when they got in, when the corrections officers were like, we want a line. We're the gray line. Everyone's like, shut up.
I like that firefighters have the thin red line. It's like, you just fight fire. No one's mad at you.
You're not Terrence Malick. You can't have the thin red line.
Right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, we're protecting you from the outlaws of fire.
All right, man.
Thanks.
I appreciate
All right,
it.
thank
but,
you.
I
I like you guys the most,
Yeah.
but
I'm fine with you being funded.
You didn't need to be on this team. You didn't need to sign up for this.
Point of fact, it's better that you're not.
Yeah, we root for you in the softball games. Like, get it. Stay out of this.
Yeah. We still like you. Don't do this.
Yeah, we're not telling people to Google 40% of firemen.
But I bet if you did, it would turn up some shit.
Yeah, a lot of probably wouldn't be
Yeah.
the best.
Setting their wives on fire.
Those firemen
Like
can't
Sergeant
trust them.
Slaughter did to Hulk Hogan.
Sure did, yeah.
Also, the murder is fucking brutal. She's got a knife like buried in her chest.
They slammed that knife in her
Like,
chest.
She fell onto that knife.
Yeah. Somebody stabbed her ass off.
Yeah.
Just somebody was
Stab
pissed.
the fuck out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking Mike Tyson killed her. Barry just starts fucking running like crazy. That's how he's like foot loosing. He's like, I just gotta run. And he breaks the speed force in doing so. Everything turns bluish, slow motion. He's being stretched into, and then he ends up like he sees the past day, and he's in like a orb in a theater with like his day watching him.
Yes.
And it looks like shit.
It looks terrible.
I liked it conceptually. I thought it was a cool way to represent the way that time looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like concentric rings.
Yeah.
Of that.
I agree with that.
You're totally right. The execution of it.
The CGI was not great, but whatever. I don't care.
It's not that it's not great. It's that it's just really bad.
It's terrible.
Sure, actively bad. I'll give it that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Like that's all we needed. It's just, hey, this is bad, right?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
He stops just to look at the babies. Like that's where he stops. And he goes in for a closer look, and he literally pokes his head out of the time into that moment. This is very similar to the visual we get in Batman versus Superman, where he wakes Bruce up from a dream being like, it was Lois. She's the key. He's a bit spooked by this, but his ass is thinking of some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could you not?
Like, Cut to him talking to Bruce.
I could use
about
this
it.
to bet on sports.
Yeah. Bruce is like, you mean like what when you were in Pajarnov? And he's like, yeah, but that was only a second. This was a whole day. Pajarnov is the second Zack Snyder's Justice League thing.
Yeah.
He goes back in time in that space. So that's how we have like, all right, the official canon is that it's the Zack Snyder. It's a sequel to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Officially, if there are no boundaries in the DC universe, it's all just fucking stupid.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton's in this movie.
You can see Bruce's impending migraine through the screen. Like you could feel the headache coming. He's like, you could see him like he wants to do that thing where you just pinch between your eyes. And he's like, he realizes that Barry is impulsive and a little unhinged. And he's like, Barry, I cannot stress to you enough that you cannot go back in time.
Yeah, you really shouldn't do that.
He's like, I know about the butterfly effect, but what if I saved your parents? And Bruce is like, that's not what we're talking about here. No, you can't do that. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. You have nothing broken that needs to be fixed. And it's a whole like, you know, our scars are the rich tapestry of our lives. Don't live in your past, live your life. Don't let your tragedy define you. And the lessons are being laid on pretty thick. And then Barry goes, but what if it's supposed to define me? Your tragedy made you a hero. And Bruce is a second away from being, my tragedy made me a psychopath.
Yeah. he says it made me alone, but that's what he was thinking. It's like, no, it made me a goddamn maniac. Did you see what I did earlier? I was getting dragged behind a car.
You didn't see this, but I ran over a kid. And he wasn't in my way. I moved a little for
him. I wanted to hit him. I wanted to hit him, Barry.
Yeah. He's just, it's so funny because he's like, you know, my tragedy made me alone. Not an unhinged psychopath.
Just an absolute menace.
So he says he's alone, and Barry's like, well, you want to go get a bite? And Bruce is like, that's not what I meant. not with you. I don't. And it is funny because later Barry's going to find out that Barry is annoying.
Yes.
Like he finds out he's annoying
he realizes that he is exhausting.
Yeah. So he gets in the car, takes off, and Iris is right there. I'm surprised Bruce didn't run her over. She's so close.
If he had seen her, he would have.
100%.
He would have aimed for
It's a
her.
reporter.
She heard us.
She
She knew my
heard me talk
secret.
about my problems. Nobody must know that I'm alone. Anyway, she's like, wow, you have fancy friends. He's like, that was an Uber exec. And he starts to explain that he's like, look, I'm not here to talk about the case. And she's like, oh, I'm not here as a reporter. I'm strictly here on stalking business.
Yeah. I'm here to smell your drawers.
So it cuts to him flash cleaning his apartment. She comes in and she goes, it's a lot tidier than I expected. And he goes, I'm a pretty tidy person. And he like leans up and we have like a sitcom moment, which was like, I guess kind of funny, but also I was like, really, guys are doing this?
It felt dated. It was cute, but it did feel like a dated joke. Like all of the crap falls out of his hide a bed. I forget what that bed is called, but
Like
a trundle bed.
That's how people who aren't as fast as the Flash clean in a moment like that. He could just do regular ass.
He could have actually put everything away. Yeah.
He could have just cleaned his house in that amount of time.
He offers her a drink and she's like, a beer would be great. And he opens up his fridge and, gentlemen, the pausing that I had to do to get what's in his fridge. So the set dresser
please
can
let
feel
me
like
know. Yeah.
somebody noticed. There are 4 shelves. Bottom shelf, Chinese food container, rotten broccoli, crushed takeout box. Next shelf, some kind of weird spilled liquid. Brownish.
His dad's cum.
Is that
An empty egg carton, like an open empty egg carton with a protein bar, because you know how you refrigerate your protein bars.
Sure.
In it. Above that,
is it a loose protein bar? Or is it still in its wrapper?
Still in the wrapper.
In an egg carton.
And it looks like it's some kind of vanilla flavor.
Oh, that's the worst kind.
Like, why would you do that, right?
Yeah.
He's making all sorts of wrong decisions.
He's got to go back in time and get a new protein.
He's got to go back in time and stop himself from buying that protein bar. Yeah.
That's the real tragedy.
That's
in
the
this
flashpoint.
Mystery Tupperware, like big square Tupperware with a yellow top shelf, a Big Belly Burger Cup, which is like the main fast food friend of Central City. A fucking jar of hot dogs.
No.
A jar of 8 hot dogs.
It wasn't pickles.
It was 8 hot dogs in what looks like a cardboard can or jar, like a Pringles cheese balls.
Barry, you can steal anything.
Yeah.
Anything you want.
Anything in the world. Nobody would ever, Batman wouldn't even ever know, probably. You can steal some hot dogs. Why get them in a jar?
Yeah.
Like you're running a bar at a bus stop.
Some tipped over milk, and then what looks like a carton of either soup or bone broth.
Yeah.
I know
his dad's bone broth.
Hell yeah. It's more of his dad's cum. That's I understand why they do this. They do this in the Spider-Man movies too. They show all the adversity he has to go through, with great power comes great responsibility. He has to be responsible and he can't like use his power to get ahead. But it's like at some points in the Spider-Man movie where he's in like desperate poverty, I'm like, dude, just rob one bank. It's insured. Nobody can stop. Nobody on earth can stop you. Just do it.
Yeah, get $99,000.
Right. It's the same thing with the Flash. Like, dude, bro, Barry, just steal $100,000. That's all. That's it. Nobody would even notice it. You could steal it from somebody who wouldn't even notice it was gone. Like,
yeah, just do something.
Just do something. You are living like terribly.
Rob the mint.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna care.
Like honestly, you should be on some sort of global salary because you're a superhero. So at the very least, they could pay you enough that you're not living in a fucking hovel. With
it reminds you of how much
jar.
of a huge piece of shit Bruce is.
Yes.
Flexing a $500,000 Mercedes.
He knows how broke Barry is. He could give he could solve all of Barry's problems in an afternoon, like in 15 minutes. He could solve Bruce could give him $1 million and he wouldn't even feel it. Like,
give him a job as a consultant.
Yeah, it's something.
We need a forensic consultant.
Yeah.
We hired him. He's on retainer for $100,000 a year.
At least buy him a fucking house, like something, or condo. Get him someplace to live.
You can just let him live in your condo.
You built a space station, Bruce.
Yeah. Taylor Swift can afford to be good to her employees. Why can't Batman?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Barry is spending hundreds of dollars fueling himself up to clean up your mess. You piece of shit.
He was late for work because of this shit. You're fucking with his money, Bruce, and you can't even give him any.
We find out that the Flash, Barry, has no beers. No beers.
No beers.
So he robs his neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did you get the joke of him facing through the wall? Did you get the
oh yeah, it's
visual cue?
It's the poster. It's the last poster that Andy Dufresne uses to cover up his escape hole in Shawshank.
Yeah, it's the Raquel Welch Shawshank poster.
1 million years BC.
Yeah, and he goes through the wall just like Andy.
Because it's
like Shawshank Redemption in a lot of ways, honestly.
It's I feel like because it's directed by Andy Muschietti, who made the new It movies. So I feel like it was like he was doing like, hey, Stephen King. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. It also it's like a perfect little nod.
Yeah.
Like nobody would get it unless you were like, I like both of these movies.
Right.
She's like, hey, I was really insensitive earlier. And like as she's like apologizing, he opens the beer, and this is actually really funny, but it just basically explodes all over him because he just shook the shit out of him.
Most of the jokes in this movie land for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're not bad.
I don't hate this movie.
I think this is a great movie? No. Do I think it is a movie that has some really good little scenes in it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't like hate it, and I found it funny in a lot of moments.
Yeah. No, it's charming.
I mean, so far.
Yeah. Well, it gets interesting as we keep going. So she's like, yeah, it's like you lost both parents on the same day. And he's like, that is literally what happened. I don't understand why you're using it like it's a simile here. Yeah, it's almost as if you lost both of your parents in that one event.
It's not like that.
It's just that.
My dad's been in jail since.
For a murder he didn't do because of a failed justice system.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, so maybe that's why you got into forensics, to fix the system. And boy, does he hyperfixate on the word fix.
Yeah.
And so she's like, that's why I got into journalism. And he's already on an insane track.
Right. She's not even there anymore.
No.
Like,
and he's like, I mean, if I could make it right, if I could go back in time and warn them without them knowing that I'd warned them. And she's like, oh yeah, thinking like that's going to drive you crazy. Like, could I go back in time and stop the guy who did this? He's like, no, that's too much interaction. And he starts going through the plot, to which she should be gone by now.
Yeah.
Well, she should at the very least be like, are you the Flash?
Yeah. Are you are you a hero of sorts?
He's got a loose interpretation of what interference means. Because like his plan is blatant, like a ref. Like the time travel ref would throw a yellow flag at him.
It doesn't get better, Adam. It doesn't get better.
Yeah.
His ultimate solution to the problem at the end of the movie is still like a fucking red card from the time refs.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what's going to happen in a second.
Yeah.
And what he does is, it's not incredibly egregious. It's when he doesn't realize that he's not at the right time. Because we'll get to there. So he's like, the robber thought the house was empty. Mom had the knife. Shit must have gotten out of hand. If mom hadn't forgotten those tomatoes, it would change everything. Thanks, Iris. I gotta go. And he leaves her in his apartment, opens the door back up, and goes, I had a really great time. We should do this again. As more garbage falls out, and she's just like, what am I doing here? What am I doing? Cut to him. He's already running through time backwards, which is weird, but fine. We see the events from Justice League. We see him planning out his suit. We see his dad yelling to get him to 911. Here we are. He's at the supermarket. Somehow he can also transfer not just time, but also space.
Sure.
Right, because they're not like memories he has because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess no, he was, because he was there. His dad does say, I thought you guys went shopping. So little Barry was at that shopping trip.
That's right. Lil Barry, tiny Barry.
Little Barry, wee Barry.
Yeah. When we get to the two Barrys, I call one Barry Prime and the other one Baby Barry.
Well, I call the other one Reverse Flash.
Everything slows down as he grabs a can of tomatoes, looks wistfully at his mom, says, see you soon. And as he's running back, he's like, please work. And he sees the life that he just gave himself.
Yeah. I really appreciated that. Like it's like a genuine moment. You feel like you can see him like running through the Speed Force, and he's running, but you can see his face, and he's like experiencing all these memories that he didn't get to have. It's like, oh, my mom is like, he sees his 18th birthday, he sees all these milestones he's going through with his mom there, and it got to me, you know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, some dipshit in blade armor pokes his head up out of nowhere.
Yeah, at the fucking back of the Time Theater. It's like, what the fuck?
Like the usher of the Time Theater shows up.
Fucking bounces him out of the time stream.
And
literally bounces him out.
He bodies Barry out of the Speed Force. He hits this guy in a way that you're like, it's not a good sign.
I don't know what that is, but I mean, yeah.
So now he's like, and what we don't know yet is that he's not in the present.
Right. He's been knocked out in front of his childhood home, but that's where he started with it running back in time. So he doesn't realize that he's not back in his own time yet.
Yeah. He's like, oh, and he like, first he robs some old people of their clothes.
He sure does. He steals the old man's pants.
He robs the little man.
Yeah.
He'll rob Main Street, but not Wall Street. You know, like he's going after like neighbors' beers.
Yeah.
He's going, but FDIC insured bank
won't steal Bruce's car.
No, absolutely not. He should steal Bruce.
Just abduct Bruce. No, it's fine, Bruce. Just let me kidnap you. Just let me kidnap you. I can get so much money from your board of directors.
Kidnapping me.
Bruce just
kidnap the willing.
He just keeps waking up in like a kidnap hut. Damn it, Barry, you can't keep kidnapping me.
Just ask for money. I'll say no, but ask.
I won't even acknowledge you asked, but still you should ask.
Yeah. He walks into the house, sees his mom. He touches her shoulder, scares the living shit out of her. Would have been funny if
she stabbed him directly in the center of the chest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We all had that thought. Good.
Yeah.
She's like, what the fuck are you wearing? And Dad's all like, oh, Barry's early. Hey, what universe is this? Oh, hey.
Hey, I'm not in jail, kid.
Hey, I'm not in jail. I didn't kill my wife yet. And they're like, hey, you got a haircut, looks good. Also, you look old as shit. And his dad's just like, yeah, you look fucking awful. You look old.
Yeah, you look like 8 years older than you should be.
Yeah. Because we're finding out now that Barry is of college age. She gives him a big hug. I love you. And he does the I love you too. She's like, I love you more. Or he says, I love you more. And then she goes, I love you first.
Yeah.
That's their little thing. Go take a shower and change. You smell like a boot. Cut to him eating like a pig.
Yeah. Gross.
Shoveling food.
The spaghetti. Yeah. The very spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even that good.
To eat the very spaghetti that Adam referenced earlier in this episode.
Mom's spaghetti.
Yep.
I want some spaghetti right now.
I had some recently.
Jealous. He's like, how was your day? Or, your month, or, the last 18 years, if you want to just catch me up on stuff. And he's like rambling on, sort of implying all the things he missed and how weird it is that he's he's like, I shouldn't really be bringing this up. I don't know why I keep talking. And there's like, how's school? And he's like, school is good.
He catches himself. He starts to say was.
Yeah. And she's like, well, freshman year is a busy year. And, remember, it's about going out and meeting people and all that. And as she's talking, he sees young Barry, like baby Barry, being kind of an asshole.
Being a dipshit, like across the street, kicking over garbage cans.
Because it turns out that without a mother, when he had a mother babying him, he became an asshole.
Yep.
Like that's the side thing, is he's a spoiled little asshole.
Yeah.
So he sees him and he goes, oh, shit. And then he gets him, he's like, I have to shit outside. And then he runs out with he puts on a pair of briefs over his face and mugs baby Barry. And he's like, fucking what year is it?
What year?
Imagine if a guy with underwear on his face is like choking the shit out of you, being like, what year is it?
Yeah, I mean, I was quoting the Terminator.
Yeah, right?
Some deranged man with only pants on. It's like, what year? Oh my God.
He's like, I'm 18. And he's like, fuck. So then it cuts to them having a conversation in the bedroom. And they're having a conversation, and Barry's like, look, Barry Prime is like, I'm violating the rules of time and space by occupying the same time as you. And baby Barry is like, we're going to be a superhero. And Barry Prime is like, yeah, It's not as good as it seems. I get bug splatter in my teeth
Well, I like
all the
that
time.
he says it's scary. He's like, it's being a hero is not great. It's scary.
It is.
I'm sure it is.
It's just frightening all the time.
He's like, sometimes I can comically fall on a goddess's tits, but usually I'm just like almost getting destroyed by guys that are like, no. Then Superman kills the guy.
Usually I'm just almost getting murdered by demons from space.
Yeah.
And then this other demon from space kills them.
Yeah, Baby Barry's like, hey, do the thing again. And he's like, we don't have time. And he's like, Mom. So he's like, fine. He flash runs and builds a little cushion for him. And he goes, now undo it. And in the Speed Force, he starts to see the room he would have ended up with. And he sees that he's kind of a prick.
Yeah.
He sees like the stuffed monkey.
The monkey, yeah.
Because that was the last gift his mother gave him, is now on a dartboard.
Right. And it's like his mom calls him Monkey too. So it's like it's really a symbol of this version of Barry taking their mother for granted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he comes back with Baby Barry with duct tape on his mouth.
Yeah.
And you hear like, what's up, hon? And he goes, we're fine. I'm fine. In unison. Baby Barry asks a million questions. And boy, Barry Prime is annoyed. And he's like, it's not charming. It's abrasive and exhausting. And oh my God, I'm starting to realize what people mean.
It's genuinely decent piece of acting here, because it's not just, they do a visual shorthand. So you always know which Barry it is, because Baby Barry has long hair. But you're always able to tell in the performance too. Like, it is a different character. So it's not a bad piece of acting, I have to say.
They are not a bad actor.
No,
that's for sure. So he's like, promise me you're not gonna fuck up space time. And he's like, broski, I've got you. And Barry Prime is like, I could fucking drug you. And he's like, how would I do that? And he's like, so let's do a different.
I love when he enters the Speed Force and he's like, all right, how hard do I have to hit him in the jaw? And
he's gonna punch his fucking lights out.
He's about to knock his head off.
Yeah. And he's like, he pulls back at the last minute because the last thing he heard was that he had a date tonight. Yeah. And he's like, you have a date tonight? He's like, yeah, with this girl in this smoking hot chick in my econ class. He's like, Iris West. And he's like, do we get married to her? He's like, anyway, I have the date tonight. That's why I need.
He also asked, what were you doing?
Oh yeah, he's like, what are you doing? He's like, nothing.
It's about to murder you in the fucking speed of light.
Yeah, he puts his hammer away.
He has zip ties. Why'd you bring those on a time traveling?
Where'd you get a bag of lime this fast?
Why'd you bring a shovel back in time? We have those here.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, that's why I'm here. I need mom to do my laundry. And he's like, you don't even do your own fucking laundry? He's like, you do? And Barry's like, I'm over this and I'm going to go. But just then we see the storm start to hit. And Baby Barry's like, there goes my date. And Barry is like, we start to realize that it's the night of the accident itself.
Also, are they going to the Ferris wheel? What date is ruined by rain?
Yeah.
It's a very specific date that is ruined by rain.
I think he's very much like, oh, like, you know, the perfect night I had planned is now ruined. You know, like,
I feel like it's still not.
That Barry sucks anyway.
He does. If you notice, eagle-eyed Flash fans will notice he is dressed in yellow for most of the movie. That is wearing big ass tint.
For those of you that do not know this, and Adam might be the Flash's like other versions, usually his villains are like Reverse Flash and Zoom. They tend to be yellow. And
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
Got it. You got it. You didn't even need to read any Flash comics before this, Adam.
Yeah, I just
you nailed it. Yeah.
It's like, see, here's how babies know how to swim when they come out of the womb.
Here's the thing, guys. This is a different Barry. Should he even be entrusted with these powers? We don't know, but we've got 30 minutes to get him to the Central City Crime Lab, or there might not be a future to come home to.
He doesn't know if he'll still get the... I appreciated it because they didn't try to like explain the actual way that time works. They were just like, they just explained that Barry doesn't know how time works. So he's like, I don't know if you don't get struck by lightning tonight, if that means that I don't get powers, or if it means that all the potential futures that I'm a part of don't happen. I don't know what's going to happen. So you need to go get these powers.
The other thing that we are ignoring is also the fact that Steppenwolf and Darkseid, because remember, Barry is the one that brings Superman back to life.
That's
in
right.
Justice League.
That's
He's the one
right.
that creates the charge, and Superman's the one that prevents the whole problem. So he's like, if I don't fix this problem, if I don't
The
become
world might end. Yeah.
Flash, the world will be conquered by Darkseid.
And that's kind of what happens.
It's quite a pickle.
So they arrive. Barry vibrates them through the door, and they get all sneaky, avoiding guards and stealthy and shit. And Baby Barry loves phasing, by the way. He is on board. And as a matter of fact, when they see another door into the lab, he immediately jumps into Barry Prime's arms to get
It's pretty
through.
funny.
He's like, let's go for a ride. He sees a door, they get through, he just fucking loves it. He explains, he's like, all right, yeah. See, I opened the windows to clear out the fumes. I was sitting right here in front of these chemicals, and that's where the lightning hits. And Baby Barry is like,
he's like, I'm going to get struck by lightning. He's like, no. The chemicals are going to get struck by lightning, and then those are going to explode all over your body, and that's what's going to electrocute you.
and they struggle, but the lightning does its fucking thing, courses right through Barry Prime into Baby Barry. During this process, a fucking tooth pops out of Barry Prime's mouth and ends up in Baby Barry's. And I'm not sure if this is why they do the tooth thing, but essentially it signifies the transference of power.
Yeah, and I think it's foreshadowing that the power is destructive, right?
We'll get there. Okay, so Barry Prime looks up and sees Baby Barry healing, and he's like, oh, it fucking worked. Awesome. Baby Barry wakes up and coughs up a tooth, and Barry Prime goes, wow, looks like you lost a tooth.
Mm-hmm.
And Baby Barry starts freaking out, and he's like, wait, I got all my teeth here. It looks like you lost a tooth. And he sees this big fucking gap in his mouth.
It is pretty funny.
And he super glues that son of a bitch back.
Yeah,
in.
he does.
Triggering
Kind of.
for me. I've had too much dental strife over the past year.
I mean, I'm missing 2 teeth.
Yeah.
I get it.
Did a dentist leave a needle in your jaw, Jeff?
Yeah.
That's not true.
It's a hypodermic needle, actually. So
It's not true.
it was an AIDS needle.
Well,
So
you were
nice try.
No,
because you were doing heroin.
came off the toilet seat of a public toilet. I'm surprised I got it while trick-or-treating. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Touched a gas pump. It was stuck to that.
I sat in a movie
A phone
theater.
booth, public phone. There's a needle in the receiver, an AIDS needle.
We got it. Super glues it back in, and they're like, we gotta fucking go. So they try to escape, but the entrance is being super secured, and Barry Prime is like, all right, let's do this again, and tries phasing through the wall and just fucking smashes his face into the wall.
He sure
and they
does,
fall over.
Jeff.
And he's
Very
like,
funny.
fuck. And he groans, gets up, tries phasing through again, and again just fucking thuds. And he's like, wait a second, he thinks to himself. And then he gets into his sprinter's pose, and you never really notice how stupid it looks until you see him running in
At
real
normal
time.
speed. Yeah. It always looks stupid, but it's like highly stylized, and it's like, well, what else would it look like? Like somebody who is just thousands of times faster than normal human beings running at a regular pace would look insane. Like there's no real way to compute what that would look like. But I do appreciate that they show him doing the same run that he does, but in normal speed. He just looks like a fucking jackass.
Yeah, and they do sort of like, it is very meta.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, he looks fucking
He
stupid.
looks
doesn't
stupid.
he?
Like
No.
you can't look cool running. You just can't. It's not a cool thing to do.
But you can watch cool runnings.
Mhm.
That's true.
That's a very cool thing to do.
You can feel the rhythm and the ride.
That's why he gets on a bobsled.
Mhm.
That's what he's gonna do. I imagine having the Flash on your bobsled team as one of the runners. You're gonna do
Everyone
great.
would die.
They'd
Yeah,
all
the
be
first turn they
killed.
just rocket right through the turn.
They're all headless at the end of the race.
Spectators getting hit with a fucking bobsled.
Just
At
like
the end, it
a
just
cannon
burrows into the
shell,
earth.
Just like
Yeah,
Through the
causes an
stands.
environmental disaster.
the Flash is a menace, you guys.
The Flash, just the idea of the Flash using his momentum to just destroy stuff is
It's very,
Dude,
it's
it's
very
so
funny.
funny.
Yeah,
because we mentioned a couple weeks ago that the scariest thing you can possibly imagine is the Flash with a hammer.
yes.
Like
What are you
If you
doing
see-
with that?
if you see the Flash pull up on you with a hammer in his hand, you're like, this is going to be a very difficult death.
Yeah.
This is going to be a death that's going to start low and work its way up, isn't it?
It's like seeing Superman with a hammer. Oh no. Yeah. You don't need that.
Need that. You don't need that. You want that.
Yeah. This is a decision. This is a choice you're making.
So he's just running wildly in circles, and you can hear it like squeaking on the cement or on the marble floor.
It's very funny.
His feet are wet.
Yeah.
And he's just like looking around and stuff, and he's just like, shit, I'm slow. And gentlemen, that's a soda.
That's where we're cutting it off today. Wow.
Great ending for this movie.
That's it. That's the whole thing. What do you guys think of this the first act? This is the first act, right?
Yeah,
like
this is more or less act one. Kind of.
Yeah, you definitely picked a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That feels like kind of the end of part one of this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, the conflict is clearly identified. He's trapped back in time, and whoops, he doesn't have his powers anymore.
Uh-oh.
What's going to happen? If you've read Flashpoint, you kind of know what's going to happen, because happens.
Some of it, yeah.
I mean, how he gets his powers back is literally what happens in the movie.
Yeah, that is fair.
Yeah.
Adam, what'd you think?
I did not hate it. I thought I was going to hate it, but so far, so good, I would say. It kept my attention. I think Tom's right that the jokes mostly land.
Yeah. It really wasn't bad. Like, I don't understand I get this movie had a lot of things going against it.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of anchors under the boat here that we're trying to work through and understand. But it's, as problematic as Ezra Miller is, they are not bad at playing this character.
No, and like 1,000 people made this movie.
Yeah.
They're only one of them.
Yeah.
So
actually there are two. Tom, did you
That's true. Ezra
paying attention to this movie?
Jeez.
Adam, if people for the three people listening that might not know where to find you and what to do, tell us where we should find you.
Oh, you can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I got what you need.
Come give me a hug.
Yeah, I don't know the rest of those lyrics.
I always love that they pulled "Come give me a hug."
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Like, this took a real soft turn.
You can find me on Instagram at Adam Todd Brown. We are working on a website for the podcasts again, so that'll be up soon. I don't know why you can't find me there. I don't know the name of it, but that'll be a thing. And patreon.com/unpops. Changing your Patreon URL is sure a fucking tricky situation. I mean, you can do it. It just, the old one dies. It doesn't redirect. So we're still patreon.com/unpops, unpopsnetwork.supercast.tech. You can hear our podcast and get bonus podcasts. And also adamtoddbrown.substack.com. That's where I write words.
You write great words.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. A lot of people, like, when they try to want to revisit like the good era of like content from Cracked. And it's like, yeah, you're doing the same thing you were doing there, just on your Substack.
Yeah.
So everyone should go check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Go look. Go have a look. My latest article is about me trying to use a Photoshop AI feature. And boy, did it go horribly wrong. Just terrifyingly wrong.
That's what movies have taught us about AI. I don't know why you didn't pay attention.
Yeah. Good point. That's all I got. And hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate
that. We love having you. We want you on every episode from now on.
Don't
forever.
be this way. Don't talk to me that way. What?
No. It should be Tom and Jeff and Adam watch Batman.
Yeah. Tom, Adam, Jeff. We don't even have to change the acronym. TAJWB.
It's
Tom,
true.
Adam, Jeff watch Batman.
Right.
Tom, what do you got going, bud?
Oh man, well, you're listening here, which means that you're already following the Gamefully Unemployed network on whatever app you use to listen to podcasts. So thank you so much. You can find the rest of this show as well as a bunch of other exclusive podcasts for just $5 a month at our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have this show. We also have Spiel Boys. We have Fox Mulder is a Maniac, and we have Star Trek: The Next Futurama, plus some other stuff that's going to be coming out. We have a great Discord community that you can be a part of. We watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. That's at a $10 tier. And we have other tiers where you can get custom podcasts about just about anything you want, pretty much, within reason. So check it out. We have a lot of cool stuff you can see. I'm done saying words, Jeff.
I don't know if you go over to I got Jeff Has Cool Friends. I don't know if you know that. I don't know why my plug just fell apart.
Yeah, what's happening?
I do this
Do you have a
all the
stroke?
time. I don't know if you know this, but I have cool friends and I have a show called Jeff Has Cool Friends, which you can get for free, but you can get early access to uncensored episodes with bonus content over at patreon.com/JeffMay, where you can access to that, as well as shows like early access to Nerd with Dre Alvarez, which people are really enjoying. We're starting a new season of that this month, so that's very exciting. You can also get the Patreon exclusive, co-exclusive Ugh Fine with Kim Crawl. And I have some cool tiers like the rookie card tier for $35 a month. I send you a care package of stuff from I Must Break You, as well as You Don't Even Like Sports cards. So that's exciting. And you can also do producer tiers and very similar tiers to the Gamefully stuff because I stole it. I stole their thing. I do lots of shows on the You Don't Even Like podcast network with Adam, such as You Don't Even Like Sports. I am a occasional co-host on You Don't Even Like This show, and of course You Don't Even Like Sports Cards, where Adam and I open cards, sports cards on camera. And if you're listening to this on release day, why don't you head on over and watch that?
Head on over.
Yeah.
I'm at Hey There Jeffro on the socials and YouTube, and subscribe. We need those subscribers in the watches, so you guys should do that.
Yes, please leave us a review as well. All of us.
Do that. All of the things. We desperately need them. You have no idea how much that helps.
It really helps a lot. It's the simplest thing, and it helps so much. It's crazy.
And
so many people are like, no.
Leave us reviews, like us personally as
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, a personal evaluation of us as human beings is what I'm looking for.
I personally would prefer just the content, because I think the content of my end is much better than the person that I am. I do not trust you to judge do not rate the content of my character, but the content of my content, please.
Judge me not by my character, but by the content I produce.
Yes. We will see you guys next week for part 2. Until then,
Let's
get the H out of here.
Yeah, let's get the H out of here. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Wait, I get hit by lightning?
Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. You can find more of his artwork at instagram.com/mvbramleyart. Our episode artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at Justin T. Brown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.